All right, hey guys, Sam here with you. We are late morning on Wednesday, February 21st, and we're going to take a look at Ethereum to the dollar today. So I've got, this is Ethereum to the dollar on Bitstamp. This is a 4-hour, and you can see I've got a little workup on this, and we're starting to get some acceleration down here, which is starting to confirm the bearish count, which... You know, I mean, this has looked a lot like Bitcoin, but so here's the problem with this. If this was going to play as a 1-2, with this, if what I have labeled as an A was going to be a, if we were going to get a 1, 2, 3, now see, we've gone too deep here for this to really, you know, we're about to take out this too low here. This absolutely confirms it. So what we have here is more probability that we've got as an ABC. Now, to add, so you can see here, we come just shy of the 618. That's 61.8, the length of A projected from the B. And we get this nice subdivision in here as well. So A, we get a 3-wave B, then we've got this very clean 5 waves to give us a C. And and it's technical, right? So, but here's the big tell, right? So if we just use our retracement tool and we work from the B high here to our C low, what do, right? So we tick the 618. So that's algo selling. You know, you can see their first reaction here was at the 50. You know, it's not ready to go. It comes back up in 5 to give us the completed C wave here. So it's hard to argue with that count. So where would that leave us here? Well, if this starts to accelerate down, see, so far we can look at that. And we can see, maybe make the case that we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. If we start to go down in 5, well, that would not be good for bulls. So let me look at it this way. So if I put a, I can do it here. You know, sometimes it's clear enough. You can just work off of the, wrong one. You can work off of the larger time frames here. So let's see if I can get it. So that looks to me like what's underway here. So if we're going to go down in 5 here, you know, that's discouraging for bulls. So what that would set up is, if we're going to go down in 5, and we've got, so we'd have to rethink the whole thing. So let's try and get a handle on it. So if we have an ABC and then we get another ABC, this would be a corrective wave. So the potential here is for a WXY. So again, so as I've mentioned before, WXY, it sounds complicated. It's just connecting two ABCs, but you have a corrective wave that connects those two ABCs. So if I come over here, this would be extremely bearish. So this would be our first ABC here to our W. Then this would be our corrective X wave, and we'd be looking down here for a Y. Yeah, that's discouraging, right? So the hope was, and of course, you know, now the question is what happens with Bitcoin. The hope was that we had a potential for this to be a 1, 2, 3, shallow here on the 4, and we might have had a diagonal, right? But that's right, so already 3 would have been shorter than the first leg here. So chance that we had one more push up to give us a diagonal, but that's looking less and less likely. So if we're going to come down here in 5, right, so that would set us up for an ABC. So if I now go look at it here, if we're coming in 5, this is kind of what it looks like we're dealing with. You know, and again, I'm just eyeballing here, but if we come down this way, you know, nothing says we have to get this target, but, you know, there's going to be algorithms and a group of traders that have written the software that sold it here that's going to, you know, that's their target, right? So whether they get it or not remains to be seen. So where do we get some evidence to support anything contrary to this? Well, so let me put the wave on that just so you get the idea of it. And let's go up a degree. All right, so that seems to be what's setting up to play. So this would give us so here in the larger degree, so in green you see we'd have WX, then down for an ABC into a Y. Right, so so what's that, 400? That would put us back towards 400 if we're going down towards that target. Now that's not, you know, that's not a certainty, but it's hard to argue with that, right? Given this perfect tap and the structure here, it's hard to argue with this. So if we get a 5 wave down here, that would imply the A wave. You know, I'm sticking with the idea that it's going to be 3 waves and not 5. But if we're going to get an ABC, then things to pay attention to, right? So we would just do the same thing going the other direction here. So just pulling from that swing low to high, well, that's kind of interesting here. So first reaction, first key level to consider if there's any alternate count that we can find in here would be, well, what happens at the 50? All right, if we get through that, then what happens at the 618? So, you know, just discouraging to see this unfold this way. So now you got to watch Bitcoin to see, you know, who's leading whom. You know, this is, you know, it's just almost no other way to count this that would make any sense. So then the other thing, since we've got these nice big juicy pivots to work with here, well, of course we'd put a pitchfork on that if I get it right on there. You know, we're going to get there that fast. That seems a bit abrupt, you know. So if we stay within the time, the time pattern that we get here, the structure, I should say, the geometry that's provided by the median line, you know, that we're going to get there that fast. That seems unlikely. So that would have me leaning towards a modifier here. So we just go look at it. Look at the shift. Well, that's kind of interesting. As I've shown you before, modified shift is going to be much like a channel on this. So just to show you, so if I grab a channel here, come on, I grab that here and we work, you can see we get the modified shift. All right, so that's why, you know, a lot of times you don't even need to use the channel. You can just put the modified shift on it, but. You know, so targeting that, so coming here, so we'd look for a reaction at the median line. So that would put us well through the 786, you know, unless we're going to get it, you know, it's going to drop here today. Seems unlikely. So that would lead us down towards this kind of a pattern. So if we get the bounce here, which you'd expect, you know, then we're, you know, you know, again, I'm just hypothetical here. Something like that, you know, that's got to be considered. So I'd be cautious here if you're a bull. It's really hard to argue with this count. Now, so where are there going to be some of the tells? All right, so first important thing is, let's go down to the hourly. All right, so if we've got this underway, I'm going to take the channel off. Okay, if we've got this as a 1, 2. All right, well, let's get a handle on where we are. So what we can use our fib tools here to try and get some sense of where are we in this count. So if I just use my alternate price prediction, I'm going to go, if that, okay, so interesting, right? So we've stalled here. Now, I don't know that we're going to continue to stall, but here's our 1618175 box. We're already, you know, we're getting through that. So where would the next stop be? Well, next stop, you know, potentially here, 200 would be something to consider, but true fib would be the 2618, which would put us down here. So, you know, we'll see. So for, you know, we're definitely going to have this as an area to take a look at, right? So there's the 2618 in the 50 coming back the other direction. So let me pull back out. Let's see if we can look into that. All right, so the key levels here. All right, so here's the 50, the 2618. Here's the, you know, potentially if it's going to play this way. Here's the golden zone on the way down. So that, you know, you've got, sadly, this is setting up rather clearly. All right, so this would be the next reaction that we'd be looking for. Do we get a 4 and a 5? Right, so this would be the clear tell. If we've gone into 5 waves down, then it would certainly imply that we're setting up here for an A wave on the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the big impulse. Right? We're not there yet. Right? I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're not there yet, but we can see here we're getting a little, you know, challenge here at this prior support. You know, if that's going to break, it should be a fairly quick move down to the 50 where it'll get tested again. Algos will start buying it there. Whether they can hold it, that remains to be seen. So, you know, as I've often tried to show you, what we're trying to do is figure out what the algos are doing. So clearly this was the sell here. We know they have a target. Is there a way for us to play in here? You know, if you're comfortable getting on the short side, something to consider. So if and when we get a pivot down here, then this will be the clear tell. Do we get this? Do we get the 3 into the 4, and then do we stall here? So we could potentially, this is some sort of a, we might get a 1-2 coming out of it. If we drop here, then that confirms the 5 wave down, confirms the A wave. Then we look for the next reaction. What happens? Do we get 3 into a B? All right, so bit of a break here from some of the bullish ideas. So we shall see. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but right now that looks like what's underway. I take a peek over at Bitcoin. That's still relatively stable and holding, but it's different enough of a structure here that this can move without necessarily Bitcoin going with it. We shall see. But that's what I see here right now. I would be very cautious if you're long in Ethereum here. This does not look encouraging, but we shall see what happens here. So the next thing, this is how we're going to get the next tell as to what's unfolding. Do we get a bounce at a pivot here to create a 3? Do we get a technical retracement here for a 4? And does it roll over back down? Here's the critical level down here, and that's at 731. All right, one to be watching.